Hello there. Thank you for joining us on Parenting Trailblazers as we undertake a journey to evaluate how we are parenting our children for leadership in the coming generation. And we're getting all our inspiration from my book, Parenting Trailblazers, that is out for you for your purchase. It's been out for a while, but you can go and get yourself an ebook, an audio book, or even a hard copy print on demand online where books are sold. We've talked about several things in relation to how to nurture our children at all stages of their development and growth to be the leaders that are specifically what Africa needs in the next generation, 15 years from now, 20 years from now. How will our children show up when it comes to leading others, to leading themselves, and even to competing effectively at the global stage? So today we are focusing still in chapter 1 on a very critical topic, which is almost similar to the one we had the last time. Last time we were talking about letting them know that they have intrinsic self-worth. And today the topic is let each know they are special and uniquely equipped. Now, why are we talking about special and uniquely equipped? Last time we talked about self-worth, which is an understanding that every human is worthy of recognition by virtue of being human because they were created in the image of God with intrinsic value. Today we are talking about something that we shall continue with even in the next program that has to do with the individual's uniqueness. The individual's uniqueness, that your child, the single child, is not the same as the other child. Even children who have been born as twins, look at them, whether identical twins or otherwise. They are uniquely special and different in several ways, including character itself. They may be different in character. Keenly, though, they are normally very different from a personality point of view. And yet many of us, as we raise our children, we don't really emphasize this uniqueness. We talk to them like we talk to each and every one, even though we can see that sometimes when we pass on the message this kind of way, it never really sits down with Jack, but that way sits down well with Jane or James. And so it's important that as we think about parenting our children in the best way possible, we appreciate that they are uniquely wired, uniquely set, and they are special. So I write, as I introduce this particular topic, and I say that Africa is an incredibly diverse continent, home to over 2,000 languages or dialects and approximately 3,000 tribes. Despite this rich cultural tapestry, each individual within these communities stands out with their unique personality and style. The diversity in Africa is not only about tribes and languages, but also about distinct individuals who possess unique traits. I am different from my brother. My brother is different from me in terms of how we approach life. I am different from my sister. My sister is different from me in terms of the way we approach life. We are distinct individuals. And of course, our parents realized and recognized these differences as we grew up. They could, of course, point out how even with similar fathers, same mother, that some of us were slightly taller or shorter than our siblings. Others had lighter skin tones than others. Others were more outgoing than others. Others were more into themselves and introverted. So the parents understood that we are uniquely different. I mean, we're different even as we grew up. I think what didn't happen, though, was even as they noticed our unique differences on the outside and even our unique giftings, very little was always done by the parents to nurture that uniqueness in a direction that will help enhance the strength that each child brought out or exhibited. And what we're saying today is if we're going to parent effectively and get this child nurtured into the leader that we want them to be, we have to look at the child, understand them, not label them. We're not talking about labeling here, but rather appreciate that they are not like any other person. They are unique individuals. And that's critical. In the book, I say that in her 2020 article, Ways to Encourage and Celebrate Your Child's Uniqueness, lactation consultant Wendy Wisner highlights the importance of embracing children's innate traits like creativity or introversion, evident from birth. Those things that you see from birth, that this one is a little different, that we should embrace them. She encourages us. Celebrating these qualities rather than enforcing uniformity builds confidence and strengthens parent-child bonds, which is especially crucial in our African context. When the child knows that you see their uniqueness, that you see their difference from others, the bond between you is going to be strengthened. They'll feel appreciated in that regard. Now, again, we're not talking about favoritism of some sort. What we're emphasizing here is, can we all appreciate that each child has been uniquely wired, uniquely connected, uniquely built? And that means that their strengths and their style of work is also going to be different. I'm talking about a child's style of work. A child's style of making a contribution will be slightly different based on how uniquely wired they are. I write and say that while African parents generally acknowledge that each child is special and unique, they rarely tailor their support to meet each child's specific temperament, specific personality, and specific gifts. So it's important that we as parents don't just stop at saying, oh, she's very different from her other siblings, but we actually see how we can use that uniqueness of that child to be able to support her. Unfortunately, many parents don't always help the children, but rather they use the differences that the children have sometimes to actually put them down. But you also, you're too loud. They may tell one, and to another who uniquely is quiet and contemplative. But why are you always too dull and not expressive? And so you see that what even our strength, when the parent is not focused on supporting the child and making sure that we positively look at the child's unique wiring, we actually just keep on putting them down. And other parents have actually even seen our very unique gifts. They never nurture them. Let me give an example. How many of you growing up in Africa, you saw that a parent knew that this girl can really sprint? I mean, she's fast, faster than other children her age. Yet, she was just sent to school like any other child. No effort was put on enhancing her speed so that, she becomes eventually, if that's what she wants to be, or she actually proves to be competent, she becomes an established athlete. How many of us saw children who, as they were growing up, they were just good with their voices? I mean, they could sing well, even as little children. Yet, when they were sent to school, little effort was made to ensure that they nurture that sweet, melodious voice that she loves to use all the time. And because other emphasis was put on other things, this child did not develop her singing voice, and it just died. She never became the kind of singer that we would have wanted her to become. And the stories are many, with all sorts of examples that we can think about that parents never took advantage of to support the children's uniqueness and their gifts. Jennifer Lynch, in her 2019 article, Teaching Your Child How to Embrace Their Uniqueness, argues that children initially express their individuality without fear. But may later conform due to societal pressures, due to societal biases sometimes, potentially suppressing their unique traits. This tendency to conform is prevalent, as you know, across our continent. Parents will tell you, in our family, we've never had somebody who does who does that. No one is like that in this family. Because the parent thinks that because they are like that, or their parents were like that, and their grandparents and great-grandparents were like that, you cannot be unique as a child. And this is not some moral thing we're talking about where, or right and wrong. No, it's really about a child's style of expression, a child's style of approaching life, that most parents say, that's not our way, that's not how we do our things here. We are not loud when we are talking. We are quiet when we are talking. We don't speak up. We take our time to speak up. But the child's style is one of speaking up, and they don't struggle to do that. So it's very important that we don't just let our children conform merely to that which we think is our way, yet we know that they have been uniquely gifted and uniquely wired. I hope this is being helpful to us so that we don't limit our children's giftings, that we catch them early and we nurture them and we help them be the professionals in those areas where they've actually showed great talent. We catch them early. And how are you going to catch your child's uniqueness? By spending time with them. Many of our parents are busy, so they actually do not even know the child. And when you do not know the child, you'll never know their uniqueness, and you'll never know how to actually support them. As a result, many children grow up feeling that their unique traits are undervalued, making them vulnerable to insecurity and even bullying if perceived as being different. Kids just start laughing at you. You have a good thing, but because other kids do not have it, they bully you, they laugh at you. And because the home is not reinforcing that good, when you're laughed at by other kids, of course, you're going to feel alone. Because even at home, no one says that whatever you have and whatever you carry as a unique trait is something to be nurtured or something to be celebrated. And this lack of attention to a child's individuality often extends to career choices. Parents may steer children toward paths they deem secure or prestigious. I want my child to be a lawyer. I want my boy to be whatever it is, my girl to be this. And the child is not designed for that. They don't even feel it. They don't even like it. They don't even like it. I know there are kids who like to be things they're not strong in. That's a different issue. But here's a child who has another altogether different gifting and strength and uniqueness. And we're forcing them in a path where they don't even want to be and to go, neglecting their unique talent and gifting. Are you letting your child be who they are created to be? Or do you also find yourself, like your parents, trying to get your child to only do and be that which everyone else has been, but they do not feel that it's their unique wiring to be or do? While it's important for children to be exposed to a wide range of experiences, to develop holistically, balance is key. Focusing on a child's natural gifts while allowing them to explore other areas can help them become well-rounded individuals capable of contributing meaningfully to their communities. So the argument is that we're not going to just let the child, if she's good at sprinting, only focus on sprinting so that she neglects, academic and cognitive building or growth. No. I think what we're saying here is let us ensure that even as we expose the child to all the other good disciplines that she has to maneuver, relational disciplines, speech disciplines, manipulating science disciplines or computers, whatever it is, where she naturally is not going to excel and be super at, Even as we do not neglect those other things, let's ensure that where the child is strong, we even lay more emphasis. The challenge we have in our world is people like to spend a lot of their time in their weak zones. In their weak zones. People like to spend a lot of time working on their weak zones. And eventually, of course, if it's not naturally you, you're not going to be as somebody who is strong in that zone, where we now need to sharpen that zone and they just naturally excel. If you spend all your time working on your weak zone instead of your strength zone, you are never going to reach the kind of excellence and competence that will make you go beyond average. Focusing a child's time on her areas of weakness where she doesn't naturally excel is really not helping her excel where she would naturally be on top of her game. So, a good lesson for us to ponder is let's focus on the child's strength zone, strength, unique wiring, even as we also let her understand or let him understand the other areas of life where they need to get some skills to be holistic human beings. Thank you for joining us on this unique broadcast of understanding and appreciating the child's uniqueness. I'm happy that you have chosen to be here even today. Let's focus on the strength zone, on the strength of the child, and focus less on those areas where they are really in their weak zone. And that is just a simple formula. What is it that your child is good at naturally? Nurture that, fan that, and let that actually be the area where you spend most time in helping the child be the person that God prepared them to be. We're talking about ensuring that you recognize the uniqueness of the child and you nurture that uniqueness to make the child the best leader that they're going to be for our community and for our continent in the coming generation. As we talk about uniqueness of children, I don't want to mislead you into some of the popular assertions around uniqueness of a child. In the case of gender identity and gender uniqueness, I fall on the side of the biblical worldview that children are uniquely male and female. And there's no negotiation around that because that really is what common sense shows and has shown over the years. Other alternatives are, for me, man-made and artificial, and they're not the kind of uniqueness that I want us to focus on or to really waste time trying to explore. So I just thought I should make that very clear. And I put it also in my book clearly, and I write and say that yet in love, let me respectfully share one critical aspect on igniting and nurturing the individuality and uniqueness of children. In terms of the uniqueness of a child's gender, while I understand that some of my dear friends may hold different views, my stance is deeply rooted in the biblical ideology, which I believe teaches that gender identity is limited to the traditional categories of male and female. This conviction stems from my unwavering belief in the inerrancy and infallibility of biblical scripture. As such, in my Christian understanding, a child's gender uniqueness is defined as either male or female. Therefore, as parents, we should cultivate a fertile growth environment in our homes for our children to become all that they were uniquely created to be, happily expressed in the pure, natural gender forms of male and female without artificial manipulation of this beautiful divine design. That really is the message, because I know if I talk about ensuring that we pursue the uniqueness of the child, many of you are going to think that I encourage that whole idea that a child has to be manipulated from a gender perspective to be something that they say they are. And yet, in this particular regard of gender, I believe that He created them beautifully male and female. And we can express ourselves to the maximum in those areas. So I thought that that should be emphasized even as we continue with our talk on emphasizing and capturing the uniqueness of the child's identity, of the child's gifting. Thank you for joining us, and I hope that you have been encouraged in our broadcast, in our interaction here. And I've got a few questions that I would like to throw out to us as we conclude this beautiful part of talking about parenting trailblazers. And the questions that I have, number one question is, how are you actively recognizing and celebrating the unique personality traits and talents of each of your children rather than treating them uniformly? Number two, what steps are you taking to ensure your children feel valued for their individual strengths and talents instead of being pushed into traditional or expected roles? The other question, friend, is, in what ways can you create an environment in your home where your children feel safe to express their uniqueness, even if it defies societal or peer pressure? So think about that. But again, remember what we've emphasized here. If we are going to help children grow in their uniqueness without taking it to extremes that are not helpful for them in the long run, we must have clear presuppositions on how to nurture this uniqueness. And one area that I have pointed out that we may really avoid is to think that in terms of gender, a girl can say, Daddy, I feel I am a boy. And the boy can say, hey, Daddy, I really feel I'm a girl. Let me be a girl for now. I feel that it's my responsibility to tell the child that, look, I understand how you're feeling, but God wired you uniquely in this area, and science confirms that area of your unique gender wiring. Now, I'll play my part consistently as long as they are children, infants, before they become adults. When they become adults, you have very little to change their choices. And I think that's where the power of parenting is, but also the limitations and the perimeters of parenting are. Play your part now when they're still growing, when they're still under your authority, under your responsibility, under your custodianship, under your stewardship. And after they have grown and they make their own decisions, that's on them. That's absolutely on them, and we're not going to hold anything against you. You played your part, your parent. Subscribe to the channel, like the program, like the show, and hit the notification button so that you are told when other episodes feature right here on the channel. Love you so much. Keep checking out how uniquely your children are. Remember, it's a lifelong journey of trying to study your child until when you find where they actually belong in terms of your natural special gifting. It's not a 1 day, 1 month, 1 year. You keep watching them and listening to them, because as they grow, some aspects of them that you never saw when they were young start to come out, and be ready to embrace those. Love you, and I wish you the very best.